Hello everyone. Today I'm making chicken-stuffed eggplants, but as you might guess, this won't be your usual stuffed dish. In this recipe, we'll take a slightly different approach. The goal is to make it as delicious as possible. First of all, I'm using a whole chicken, because the real flavor of the dish comes from every part of the chicken. There'll be both thigh meat and breast meat, and we'll even prepare a magnificent sauce using the bones. I start by cutting off the chicken wing tips, then move down from the breast area. I cut along by feeling with my hand. I already know where the bones are. By the way, my chickens are quite large. Each one weighs more than 2.5 kilos. I'll be using 3 chickens in total because today I'm preparing food for about 25 people. Now I'm removing the backbone in the center of the chicken, then the thigh bones, and finally the bones from the arm and wing sections. I lay the chicken on the counter, divide the breasts in half, and clean off the extra skin parts. I've placed the bones and skins into a separate pot. I'll make a red sauce with them. This sauce will take the flavor of the dish to an entirely new level. Finally, I dice the chicken meat into small cubes and set it aside. I've finished chopping the chicken. Now, if the chicken weighs around 4 kilos, I use about 3 kilos of onions. Yes, plenty of onions. I dice the onions into small cubes, the same size as the chicken pieces. I put a large pan on the stove, add the onions and chicken together, and start sautéing. At this stage, I don't add anything else. Just stir, cover with a lid, and cook over low heat using the sweating technique. Stirring every 7 minutes or so is enough. When the onions soften and the chicken releases its juices, I add the spices, salt, and chopped green peppers. Then I add some soy sauce and diced tomatoes. I cover it again and turn off the heat. Now it's time to prepare the sauce. We had separated the bones earlier. Now let's wash them with boiling water. We don't pour the water into the pot right away. We first boil them for about 10 minutes. When the color of the water darkens and turns nearly black, it's time to discard it. I cover it with a lid and carefully pour it out into the sink. Then I rinse the bones once more with cold water and drain them. Now I transfer the bones to a clean pot, add a few slices of carrot, 3 to 5 whole pieces of onion, and a bit of oil. I lightly crush the bones with a ladle so that all the flavor is released. I add 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, spices, and salt and mix well. Then I pour in boiling water and a bit of soy sauce. But be careful with the salt, as soy sauce is already salty. I boil this sauce for at least 2 hours. When the time is up, I remove the bones and save them for the cats. Finally, I add a thickener to make the sauce richer. After about 5 minutes, a perfect sauce is ready. Now let's move on to preparing the eggplants. First, I wash them thoroughly and cut off the ends. The peeling style won't be complete. Peel a strip, turn it, peel another strip. This way, the skin's aroma stays and the eggplants won't fall apart during cooking. Now I slice the eggplants. If you're experienced, you can stand the eggplant upright and cut it into long, thin slices. But if you're not used to that method, here's a little technique. Lay the knife flat on the counter, hold the eggplant horizontally, press it gently with your hand, and cut forward with the knife. You'll get a long, smooth slice from the bottom. The most important flavor step in this dish is frying the eggplants. I fry them in deep oil without much fuss, but not until they're too crispy. When fried, their surface should look shiny and slightly oily, but don't worry, I'll show you how to get rid of that excess oil later. I carefully take the fried eggplants out. The process I mentioned to remove the excess oil will be applied at the final stage. I've poured the sautéed chicken mixture into a large tray and let it cool down a bit. Meanwhile, the eggplants are ready for stuffing. Now I take a bowl and arrange the eggplant slices inside it. About 7 or 8 slices will be enough. I spoon the prepared chicken mixture into the center of the eggplants. Then I fold the overlapping ends inward and press them gently. Now it has taken the perfect stuffed shape. When I flip the bowl over and lift it carefully, it reveals a stunning presentation. It's a bit of a labor-intensive, multi-step dish, but both its flavor and appearance will truly impress your guests. And don't worry, the eggplants won't open or fall apart. Some people use toothpicks, but that's not a good method. A toothpick shouldn't appear on a dish, and there's no need for it anyway. I've prepared 20 stuffed portions. I'm making the last 5 in a separate tray, and then we'll move on to the final steps. There's a great trick to prevent the eggplants from opening. Add some mozzarella or kashar cheese on top. But be careful, if you don't like burnt or overly brown cheese, bake the stuffed eggplants first, then add the cheese afterward and let it melt with the heat of the dish. As for me, I'm adding the cheese now because lightly browned melted cheese gives a wonderful flavor that suits this dish perfectly. All right, now we're taking them out of the oven. As you can see, the eggplants have released their own oil. I don't pour out this extra oil. Instead, I add it to the sauce we prepared earlier. This step is very important because that oil from the oven holds the most intense flavor of the entire dish. When adding the sauce, be careful. Dip the ladle to the bottom, trying not to scoop up the oil, or gently move the ladle back and forth to take only the middle part of the sauce. This way, you'll get the most balanced mix. Once you pour the sauce over the dish, it's finally ready to serve. Sprinkle some chopped parsley on top and it turns into a true feast on a plate. And here's our small tray. It looks absolutely beautiful. I add the sauce to it as well, cut it open to show the inside, and of course, we can't finish without tasting it. It turned out truly magnificent. See you soon. Another amazing recipe is complete. Until the next video, goodbye my viewers.